All right, moving on to example number 5. Explain why these are not the same. So we saw that earlier. This is not the same because the -3 only apply to the p. It doesn't apply to the 2. There's no brackets there. So the 2 is on top. What do I mean when I say on top? Because you can think of that, any number, you can think of it as over 1. So if you just have a number by itself, this is the numerator, is on top. So it won't go to the bottom for no reason. So the 2 remain on top. Only the p, because it has a negative exponent, so you flip it, go to the bottom with a power of 3. So this equal to that, it doesn't equal to this. Okay, so that's the reason. Now let's move on to the last part. Simplifying a fractional base with a negative exponent. So what if I have a fraction and then I bring it to a negative power? Now notice there's a bracket here. You need a bracket around it. Okay. Otherwise, you just bring the number to the bottom. And then they have a rule here. So they develop a new rule for you. So evaluate this. Now, according to the negative exponent, this means you take the whole thing to the bottom, right? And then change the exponent to positive. And you can evaluate 2 to the power 3, which is just 2 to the power 4 is 16. 3 to the power 4 is 81. Well, 1 over that. 1 over that, which means 1 multiplied by the reciprocal. So you just have that. So that's your answer. However, if you evaluate this one, you will see 3 to the power 4 is 81. 2 to the power 4 is 16. So they are the same, right? Same here. So this and that must equal to each other. That's the conclusion. Consider is it true or false is true, because you saw in part A and part B, they both give you the same expression. So how do we understand this? So if you look here, whenever you have a negative exponent, you can think of this as negative exponent applied to both the numerator and the denominator because there's a bracket. So the top, remember, go to the bottom. The top go to the bottom go to the top, and then the exponent become positive. So it's consistent with what we have here. We just combine them into one. So generally, if you have a fraction to negative power, the answer is you take the reciprocal, a over b become b over a, and then the power become positive. The exponent become positive. So that's the kind of the third rule, combining the first two. So use this method. Let's do this. So what do we do when I see a negative exponent? First thing is take the reciprocal and then turn the exponent to positive. Now I know how to evaluate this. This just means that, which is 8 over 125. All right, so do we have more example for this? So now this is the finish of the lesson, but I'll just maybe find some question to do. So what are the, yeah, let's try this one, right? So what do I do? Question 12. So 2 over 3, negative exponent, so you flip the inside, make it positive. And then now 27 over 8. Those are those number cube. Here, you flip, become positive, right? 5 over 1, you just write a 5. So it's just 25. Here, you just flip them. To power of 1 mean nothing, right? Just 5 over 8. So you just flip them. Finally, same thing here. You just flip it. All right, question 13. So let's try D. It looks complicated. There are two ways to do it. You can flip, you can deal with the inside first or you deal with the outside. So it's up to you. I'll do with the inside first. So the -3, I won't do anything yet. I'm not dealing with that one now. I'll just work with the inside. Remember, a -2 means to flip to the bottom, right? And then b5, which means flip to the top. Negative exponent is flipped, so that's one way. Now, with the negative exponent, you flip everything, right? You flip everything again. Then you turn it to the positive exponent. Finally, you just simplified it. So this is one way. Now this is the difficult example because it's flipped a few times. Now another way, I'll show you, this is one way, you flip it and then you flip it again. Another way is you multiply, you do the power on power directly. The reason is power on power, you multiply the exponent, and guess what? Negative times negative become positive. You don't need to flip anything at all. So here, just power on power, a negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And b negative 5 times negative 3 is 15. Wow, you got the same answer. Which way do you prefer? All right, so let's try one more example using this complicated rule, right? So let me try F. Usually the last one is the difficult one. So again, there are two ways. You can flip each one, or you just multiply the negative into it. So I'll multiply the negative into it. Or you can flip them around. Okay, so let's try both ways. So let's try the simplifying the inside first. Let's try that way first. So I will leave the negative 2 on the outside. I'm not dealing with that negative for now. Let's work with the inside. 12 over 8, you divide by 4, so it is a 3 over 2. Now, x3 divided by x1. You can subtract them directly, right? x3 divide, you minus, x3 minus negative 1 minus become positive, become x4. See, it's actually bigger. Okay, if this is positive 1, x3 over x1 is x2, but then this is negative. That's why the result is different, x4. Y minus 1 minus 5. So that's y minus 6. So what do you do with y minus 6? You can either put it on top y minus 6 here, or you know now y minus 6 mean is y in the bottom. Y6 in the bottom, either way. Like if you look here, you have y5 in the bottom, you have y1, negative 1. The negative can move to the bottom, become y1. That's why you have y6 in the bottom. Okay, so be very careful with that. Now here, I flip everything with the negative sign. So the next step is I deal with the negative sign. So you flip everything. You have to do this carefully, otherwise you'll be confused. Finally, you square everything. 4y12 over 9x8. Okay, so this is one way. Now let me try another way, which is I multiply negative 2 to everything here. Okay, so 12 negative 2, x negative 6, y positive 2. So that's the benefit of doing it this way, because you cancel the negative, but it's not good for the other one. It still remain negative. Okay, so negative. Oh, I forgot the negative here. There should be a negative, but then when you square it anyway, it's gone. Okay, so no more negative in the answer. Here, negative. Let's put the negative here. 8 negative 2, x negative 1, x, and then x positive 2. Okay, and then y5, y negative 10. So it doesn't really help, right? You still have a lot of negative. Okay, and then the next step is I'm going to deal with the negative. What do you do with the negative? Remember, you flip them around. So anything that's have a negative, I put it here. And then x6, y2 remain on top. How about the 8? I move it to the top. And then x squared remain in the bottom. y10 go to the top. How about the negative sign? Well, the negative should also have a negative 2 here, which will eventually become positive, because the negative make it flip up and down, but doesn't matter, up and down is still negative, and then square is positive. Now I can deal with that, all right? So the top y2, y10 is y12, right? This is 64 over 144, and x6, x2 is x8. And then 64 and 144 is just a matter of simplifying it. Divided by 16, you have 4 over 9, y12, x8. And of course, we got the same answer. Okay, so two different ways, right? You got two different ways, you get the same answer. So it's up to you which way you prefer. So I think these are quite challenging, but as long as you do this carefully, don't try to jump to the end in one step. Try to do this carefully. You do with the negative sign on everything, or you do it one step at a time, combine it first, and then you do with the negative. Okay? All right, so that's the end of this lesson. Thanks for watching. And remember, math is awesome.